At 20, he inherited a kingdom his neighbors had already mentally divided among themselves. At 25, half of the known world lay at his feet. At 32, he was dead, and the empire he built collapsed faster than he created it. This is the story of a man who either believed he was the son of a god or simply wanted everyone else to believe it. Let's go. Alexander was born in 356 BC in Pella, the capital of Macedonia, a kingdom the rest of Greece considered a half-barbaric backwater. His father, King Philip II, hires a personal tutor for his 13-year-old son, Aristotle. For several years, the boy studies philosophy, medicine, and Homer's poetry. He would later keep the Iliad under his pillow on every campaign. 336 BC. King Philip is stabbed to death at his own daughter's wedding, right in front of the guests. Alexander is 20 years old. Neighboring kingdoms and rebellious Greek city-states are certain the boy won't hold the throne. He responds fast and hard. Within 2 years, he crushes every uprising and secures sole authority over Greece. 334 BC. Alexander crosses his army into Asia Minor against the Persian Empire, the largest power of the time. At the river Granicus, he personally leads a cavalry charge across the river under Persian arrows, something any military advisor would call suicide. The Persians are crushed. It's the first of 3 decisive battles against an empire that seemed unbeatable. 333 BC, the Battle of Issus. Alexander crushes the army of Persian King Darius III, who flees the battlefield, abandoning his own family in the camp. On the way through Anatolia, Alexander is shown the famous Gordian knot. According to legend, whoever unties it will conquer all of Asia. Alexander doesn't untie it. He cuts it with his sword. Word of this spreads through the entire army and the entire East. The year 332 BC, Egypt surrenders to Alexander without a fight. Locals welcome him as a liberator from Persian rule. He makes the grueling journey across the desert to the oracle at the Siwa oasis. What exactly the priest told him remains unknown, but upon his return, Alexander makes it clear. He is not just a king, he is the son of the god Ammon. From this point on, many soldiers and subjects genuinely consider him a demigod. It's here that he founds a city he names after himself, Alexandria. 331 BC. Darius raises an army several times larger than Alexander's, by some estimates, 5 to 6 times the size. At Gaugamela, Alexander finds a weak point in the enemy formation and personally leads the decisive strike into the center of the Persian line. Darius flees again. The Persian Empire, which had ruled for 200 years, effectively ceases to exist in a single day. Babylon opens its gates without a single arrow fired. Alexander declares himself king of Asia. Later, in Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the Persian kings, something happens that historians still argue about today. The palace burns to the ground. Whether it was planned revenge for the burning of Athens by the Persians, or a drunken party stunt that spiraled out of control, no one fully agrees. Either way, the symbol of Persian grandeur is reduced to ash. 326 BC. Alexander reaches India and defeats King Porus in a brutal battle against war elephants at the river Hydaspes. But at the next river, the Hyphasis, something happens that no Persian army ever managed to do. His own troops refuse to go any further. 10 years of continuous campaigning, monsoon rains, rumors of even larger armies ahead. The soldiers simply sit down on the ground and won't move. For the first time in his life, Alexander is forced to turn the army back. 323 BC, Babylon. After 10 days of worsening fever, Alexander dies at the age of 32. The cause has never been established. Malaria, typhoid fever, complications from old wounds, poisoning. Theories are still being proposed today, more than 2,000 years later. According to legend, when his generals asked the dying king who should inherit the empire, he answered with a single word: the strongest. That answer, the strongest, turns out to be fatal. Having left no clear heir, Alexander sets off decades of wars between his own generals, the so-called Wars of the Diadochi. The empire he assembled over 13 years of continuous campaigning splits into several warring kingdoms in less than a generation. A boy from Macedonia who never lost a single battle. A king who declared himself the son of a god. A man whose empire stretched from Greece to India and crumbled to dust within years of his death. So, what do you think? The greatest military commander in human history, or just a man who got lucky enough to meet a weakening empire at the right moment? Tell me in the comments. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. Until next time.